Right, here we are again. I'm going to attempt to show you how to tie another easy lure type thing. Now this fly is for fishing mainly under the indicator, however it can be fished free-lined. I'll go through the materials as I'm tying. The hook I'm going to choose, my preferred hook, is a tin head hook. Now I do understand most folk can't put their hands on tin head hooks, so I'm going to show you another way of tying it. I'm going to use just a wide gape hook that I use for blobs and other things, and a 3.2mm hothead brass bead. You can use larger if you want, you can use smaller, but that's all it is. Now this fly is aimed at the beginner more than the more experienced tyer. Beginners tend to struggle for materials. This is quite an easy one to tie in terms of materials. First of all, we'll tie some thread on. You put a base of thread, which is standard procedure for tying any fly. Take it to the back, and I usually take this back to the middle. Whatever hook you decide to use is entirely up to you, but I would prefer you to use a wide gape hook, as it will give you better hookups. Now the tail and the body of the fly is basically that type of thing, which is called a mitten, mop, glove, wotsit, finger, that type of thing. Very, very cheap. You can get them in the pound shops, any car discount shops, B&M, I've seen them in Asda, you see them in all shops. They're just a mitten, you can see what they are. There's another one. There's lots and lots of different colours. Some of the colours I use, just to give you an example, there's orange, different shades of orange. There's a peach one which is very, very difficult to get a hold of. For the tie-in of this one, I'm just going to use this one, fairly easy to get a hold of, and it does work. Now you can see all the fingers, or I hope you can with a video anyway. See all the fingers. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut one off right at the base. Nothing fancy about that. Now you'll see if you grab it in your left hand, because I'm right-handed, and just strip, take some of it off, you'll see it. What it'll reveal is these are twisted and twisted, two different chenille twisted on itself. You can see the ends. Now I tend to pull them, make sure them four ends are together, and just tie it in. All the way to the back. Snip that back. You see it's all the way to the back now. That's quite floppy. And what I'm going to do for the body, I'm going to use the same chenille. You can use fritz, in blob fritz, you can use straggle fritz. There's a whole load of things. You can use the new ecstasy pattern, you know, in normal ecstasy, the gold fleck ecstasy, the electric ecstasy, but once again aimed at the beginner. The beginner's going to be limited materials. You've got this glove for the tail, use that for the body as well. So I'm just going to cut another one off. Hope I'm in focus. Yeah, cut another one off. Now that, because it's twisted on itself, if you untwist it, it can be a bit tricky at times. Just untwist it, and that should open up. You know, these normally just foot there, it is. You've got the two parts, and you just open it up like that. Now that's enough to do a body. You can of course strip a whole length of it off if you're doing loads, but this is just to show you how easy and quick it can be made. So it leaves you a piece of chenille like that. Now, as you did with the tail, strip one end to leave 2 fibres this time. Now you want to tie those 2 fibres in on the body. Take the thread all the way to the back. See the 2 bits there, and back to the front. I'm not really too bothered about this part of the front, but if you're fussy, you can chop it off. Now the thread I'm using for the tie with is just, I tend to use Textreme. You can use any old thread, and I tend to use white all the time. Or for most of my flies anyway. So it's now better, you can use any colour. It won't make a lot of difference because your thread is going to be trapped between the chenille and the bead. You're not going to see it, so don't worry about that. Right, because you've got such a short piece, I find it easier to use a set of hackle pliers. Basically it's wrap it round the hook from the back, moving forward, touch and turns. Because this is a short shank hook, it'll only take 3 or 4 turns. There you are, that takes it right up to the hot head bead. Trap your chenille in by coming across with your thread. What I tend to do now is I'll tie 2 or 3 turns in front of the shield, and that'll lock it all in. Cut the waste off. All that remains now is a little bit of varnish on the thread. And then between the chenille and the bead, just stroke that back and wrap your thread with the varnish on between the two. You'll find it'll sink down, the varnish will go in evenly, and then do a whip finish, a 4-turn whip finish on top of it, and you'll find that that is all. Now it wouldn't have made any difference if I'd used black thread there, because the black thread would have been between the two, and that's basically your mop, your mitten, wotsit, finger, whatever you got. Now this can be fished under the indicator, which I find it's best fished under the indicator. You can free line it, stick it on a floating line with a longest lead. I use it on the point and just figure of 8 it. You can pull it back, you can strip it back really slow. There's a load of ways you can fish it, and this does catch lots and lots of trout all the year round for a lot of anglers. Well, I hope this has been of some use to you. I'll try and think of a few more easy patterns with materials that are easy to get a hold of and not too expensive. Thanks very much for watching. Hopefully see you soon. Bye.